Hey everybody, how you doing today? Superfiend here, and welcome back to Wacky World Planet Coaster. We were building the Lost Garden attraction at the end of the last episode, and so we're going to continue with that in this episode. I'm going to be completely honest with you, I don't really know exactly how to get this done the way I want it. I just have this vague idea in my head that it will be gardenish and lush flowers and other things, and that's kind of where I started the whole idea for this ride. I mentioned a couple episodes ago I was making coffee, and I kept talking about maybe a kids ride over here, and I was thinking about it while waiting for the coffee to finish, and I thought, maybe we'll just kind of go through a little one of these temple-like buildings into a little roundabout inside of an enclosed garden. And that's really the whole motivation for this coaster. That's as much as I knew about this coaster when I started building it. So I don't really know exactly how I'm going to get the garden done, and that's what we're going to find out mostly in this episode. I think it might take another episode or two. It does take a while to get things built and designed. Let's just pop over here real quick. Same thing we did last episode. I'm pretty sure that we finished some research while we were building the Lost Garden building. So let's just go ahead and collect these things, or see what they ended up being in the case of the roller coaster. We knew what the other ones were. Let's get the Mexcellente. I love Mexican food. And we'll go ahead and do a family ride, and let's go ahead and do another coaster. And as usual, because we got plenty of money every month, we're going to maximize the research expenditure so we can get those done quickly. And again, I know that the park overall is just not very exciting right now, because everything's just, all the action's over here, and it's just been episode after episode of building up and designing this area. But it is kind of coming together nicely. It'll be nice once we get some terraforming and some more vegetation and foliage around these areas. It'll start to come together pretty quickly, but it is going to take a few episodes more for it to really happen. But when it does, it'll happen fast, and we'll be able to do some stuff with here. Another way to build a challenge mode park is to just kind of do it organically, from here, and just add paths and build off of them. And that works. That certainly works. I've done that in the past, but I really wanted to show everybody how you could start from a difficult challenge mode and still manage to plan things out as if it were a sandbox, and really have everything kind of more spaced out. Use all of the available park space, and just make use of what I would call your canvas. Okay, this is your canvas. So let's go ahead and let's work on the garden some more, because we got the research going. The last thing we did last episode was we put the lion fountain here, and I think we're going to go ahead and keep that as it is. And we're just going to go ahead and we're going to add another one over here, and this was the Palace Fountain Square. So let's go to the scenery, and this is the one. So what we do is we just click on the existing piece that we want to center it on, and hit the X button, and then now when we click on the fountain, it'll appear where those advanced move axes are. And we can go ahead and do a rotation. I think one rotation that way is enough to straighten it out with the other one. And we'll lift it up a little bit. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and click on this one, and we'll just repeat the process. And actually, this time I'm not going to lift it yet. I'm going to do the one over here. This probably would have been smarter to do with the other two, but realistically, no one's going to notice. And then they're both centered, and they're the same height, and then if you select them both and move them both up, then all the fountains would be exactly the same height. And that might have been smarter to do with the other two, but I mean, honestly, can you tell? Can you tell that they're not perfectly even? I can't. So let's see, and then I want to put something kind of in the center here, make the center a little bit taller. And how would we do that? I think what we would use, I think maybe we'll go ahead and try to use, let's see, do we want this odd looking face? Or do we kind of want this? I think we're going to go with this piece. Palace, well, okay, they're all over here. So that's just for visualizing what they look like. Let's go ahead and advance move on this. And I think we're going to go ahead and add one of these. And we'll sink it down just a little bit like that. And then we'll go ahead and do the round column and set that on top. And I think that will look okay. And what happens if we just stack this again? What happens if we just stack another one and turn the faces slightly off center from the others? I mean, how do we like that? How does that look? And what happens if we then take, again, I don't really know how I want to accomplish this. I'm just playing around with the different pieces right here to see, you know, what can we do? What will it look like if we do these things? And let's see, maybe, yeah, okay. All right, so how does that look? I kind of like it. Can you even see that there's water up here when you're coming over here? Let's see. All right, got to fight with the camera for a sec. Yeah, so I guess as you're cruising by, you can kind of see that there's water. And you know, I think we'll go ahead. We'll keep that. It's a very interesting design. All of this, if it were real, would probably be, you know, if it were real stone. Not if it were real amusement park material, because they would probably use something very lightweight, plastic. But if this were real stone, I don't imagine that this one little column would be able to hold thing up. But such was the genius and technical or engineering capability of these people that have disappeared. Okay, so get the camera back, and what are we going to do now? What else can we do? I think, oh, I did have another idea, and it involved this piece. So let's go ahead and grab the cider press that has the, okay, why is the camera moving so stinking slow? There we go. The cider press piece that has the like little engraving on it. And okay, let's see. So what we might be able to do, in the previous episode I talked about putting a billboard with a water texture here and putting a piece in here to make it look like it's closed off. So we might be able to accomplish that with one of these. And the way I think we would do it is to stand it on its edge like that and probably rotate it this way. And let's see. Maybe, okay, so after we accept that, then we get another one. And if we slide this one over and down, okay, so we kind of make a half circle out of them. And now if we select the both of them, and let's see, just going to try to line it up here visually. It looks like each piece is maybe 2 meters wide, so they fit pretty well just right in here. And then if we slide this back to, I don't know, there. Now that's too tall. You wouldn't be able to see the billboard water behind it if we did it. But if I did this, okay, that looks like it could work. And then if we go over here to, where are they? The screens. Go ahead and remove that. And I think it was the projection 4 meter. Is there a 2 meter? No, okay, 4 meter. If we were to use one of these now and put a water texture on here, let's see. Okay, so like let's say this went right there. And let's say we didn't have it selected. So if we put a water texture on this, it would look like there was water in here, but it's not really tall enough. We would kind of want it to be a little bit higher if we were to do that. And this ended up being a separate building. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the selection tool. Come on now. Selection tool. And we should have 2 buildings and... oh, because I got the coaster too. Okay, we'll take the coaster off of there. I should be able to combine the two buildings together. Okay, hold on a second. All right, so let's... Okay, let's edit this. And let's just take one piece. Oh, good grief. Okay, we'll add it to building. And then we'll add this one to building. And we'll just do the stupid thing over again. Okay, so we'll get rid of that. That building is gone. And now we should be entirely in this building. All right, so let's just do it again real quick. So we got one. And we'll duplicate it. Okay. And we'll stand it up. And spin it around. And now let's see which, the green arrow is the one that we're after. And I don't know, right about there is okay. Oops. Wanted it to stay this way. I want this this more interesting texture and concaveness to be on the outside instead of on the inside. Just think it looks a little bit more interesting that way. And that's mostly centered. And then so if we drop it to there, and now if we take this piece and we move it, let's see. Okay, we'll just go ahead and put it right here, and then we'll just lift it. Okay. So if we were to actually do this, we probably want it to be about this high. But the problem is it's poking through the water here. And even if we were to put a nice water texture on it, it's probably going to clash. You'll be able to see the difference in the textures. So as it is right now, that probably wouldn't work. And then let's see, the billboard, image or movie, none. Yeah, see. And of course we can go browse for an image. All right, let's go ahead and just set it to Chief Beef for right now. Just so that we can see what we're working with. Now what we would probably want to do is take all of these pieces, these fountains, okay, and we just probably want to lift them up just a little bit, okay, until that texture disappears. Okay, oops, went up a little bit too high. All right, so that's the point where the texture disappears. So if we were to lift them that high off the ground, then this idea would work. This idea would be okay. And so let's see. So let's go ahead and accept that for now, because I do think I want to fill this in with something that looks like water. I think I do. And I don't think that there's already a pre-made just like basic square fountain. I don't think one exists anywhere in the scenery. Let's just, let's look. Statues and centerpieces. I guess we could always use like this. You know, I mean, this would be an easy way to do it. You just put a couple of these in here, but it's so big that if you put one here and one over here, they're gonna poke through each other. You're gonna see them. Same thing if we were to do this one. Well, this one might actually be okay if we did this. Yeah, I mean, this could work too. Certainly a lot easier than messing with the billboards, I think. And what else? What else? Oh, good grief, come on. But the designs on the outside of this, they don't match up with the rest of the stuff. The cider press kind of matches up a little bit better. So I think we're going to go ahead, we're going to stick with this idea. We're going to keep going with this route. And so let's select each of these pieces and let's Control X, or yeah, was it Control X for advanced duplicate move? And are you kidding me? It wants to like go this way. How come we can't just get it like straight? All right, so, and it still wants to go that way. Relative axis. All right, let's see. All right, so this will get it to move exactly this way. And then we'll just spin it like that. Good grief. Okay. Well, it's not going to be perfect, that's for sure. But nobody's ever going to notice that it's off by a little bit. Again, you know, we are our own worst critic. We know the imperfections that went into building this, not necessarily everybody who's going to look at and admire it. So we'll go ahead, and now we got those selected, and if we select these ones, please let this work. Okay, so now when you do a Control X, it puts the center point in the middle of them, and now when we rotate, at least we can get these ones kind of the way we want them. So we've got some Chief Beef billboards there, and you know, I don't know, maybe this design is going to change later, but for right now, I think we're going to keep it. And I'm going to select each of these fountains. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to straighten them out. You'll notice that each one of them is rotated kind of slightly off. So let's go ahead and just clean up their rotation. And I think I'm going to put these little things, I don't know what you call them, at the corners of these adjoining floor pieces. So we're going to just turn it like this. And we'll turn this one like that. And then we'll turn this one like so. And then now if we select each of these and Control X, we can make like that. And that actually looks kind of nice, where this this part of the bottom fountain kind of pokes through and just makes like an extra little texture there. So I think we're going to go ahead, we're going to keep this as our fountain in the center, and at the risk of overdoing it, this might be overdoing it, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to select just one of these. I'm going to put one of these, and we'll just go ahead and do this on each of them real quick. And just see what this looks like. I think it's going to be too much. I don't think we're going to keep these. But the beautiful thing about doing this kind of stuff in a digital medium is all you really waste is a little bit of time. You're not like an actual artist. You're not wasting materials when you experiment. And you know, actually, I think I kind of like it. It does feel a little bit too much, but maybe the people that built this, maybe they were very extravagant. Maybe they just didn't know when to stop. So I think for now we're going to go ahead, we're going to keep it just how that is. And let's see, I guess we can remove this piece over here. And now what I want to do is I want to go ahead, I want to build some columns in here. And let's see, what columns did we use before? We've got these nice columns, and we've got these other more simple columns. I think for the garden, because there's going to be a lot of plants and stuff in there, I think we're going to use just the more simple design, or maybe like this. I don't want it to be too much. Okay, what is this? This is the fairy tale vertical column. So let's go ahead and just pick one of those out of here. Is there a space? No space? I don't know. Is it in the building pieces? It might be. This looks like it. Okay. And let's just fix his rotation. And where are we going to need these? I think we'll start just kind of like in one square to start with. And let's see. So if we Control duplicate, and 2 clicks, and 2 clicks. Okay, so I think that looks good. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to select all of them now, but then we're going to end up getting some of the floor. We're going to do a Control X. And we're just going to lift. And I think maybe one more time. Okay. And now, if we just select all of this and then deselect the floor, we can do a Control X. Is that really what our world axes are? It seems like it's off by like 15 degrees, but whatever. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just rotate it one time, and then now it will move over here nicely. That's about the center. You know, it doesn't. We don't need it to be exact, and we'll just Control X. Okay. Do it again. It keeps doing that, but it's not going to matter. Okay. So let's see. So now we got that, and I think what we also would probably do is just add some more of these columns. And now it's just a question of where can we fit them without colliding into the coaster track. And I think we're going to go ahead. I think we're going to put one here, but move it up. And let's see, 2 squares, so 3, and then 1, 2, 3. So the next one would go right here. And then we're going to slide this way. So this is 1, 2, 3 this way. And then now if we select this one and deselect the floor and we do a Control X, we can bring them over this way. And then now we've got those two selected. We can select these ones. I don't think I got everything here. And deselect the floor and Control X and rotate them that way. I'm going to rotate them that way, and then let's see. We'll bring them in closer. We'll kind of want a lot of columns in here. Okay, like this. I got the wrong button. I got to select them again. Okay. And now these ones are going to collide with the coaster track. So I'm going to make them just a little bit off center. We'll actually be able to see how it comes through there. It comes through okay. And let's see. And then those ones were in the next square over and a little bit more towards the center. So these ones would be like right here. The next square over and a little bit more towards the center. And now if we do the same thing that we did before, get right over this and select and select. So now we've got all of those, and we do a Control X. And now we can see how close do these end up being to the track. These ones are no good. Okay, but we're going to go ahead, we're going to accept that. And what we'll do is, because these ones are problematic, the way we're going to fix them is it's going to be hard to select only them. So what we'll do, okay, here's how we do it. We select like this and like this, deselect the floor, advance, move them, no, okay, try again. We select, deselect the floor. We're going to advance, move them out of here. So that's good. We're going to take the top off, and we'll just go ahead and move all of that. And then we'll take the top off of this one and move all of that. Excuse me 1 second. Okay, sorry about that small interruption. And so then we took the top pieces off of there. Now we can take these ones and we can slide them back. And they're kind of about here. See, now there's room. They're not clipping through the coaster track. And now we can take this piece and we can move it back in here. And we'll do like a rotation. Okay, and we'll rotate it down just a little bit further. Okay, like that. And then we'll take this piece and we'll put it in here. And how are we going to do it? Well, we'll put it about like here and then advanced move. Maybe like this, and we'll lay it just pretty much flat. Now it needs to go down just a little bit. Move it over. And now this will be tricky. Can we get all of these? We did. Okay. And very simple. So we've got some little broken pieces in here. And those are the only two I'm going to have broken like that. I think the rest of them will just stay standing. Probably makes the most sense to me. And the reason for that is because these are so big, it's hard to make them look like they like tumbled down like this. It's a lot harder to pull that off. We could pull it off if we took like two of these. Yeah, there would be a way to pull it off. We could pull it off if we did something like this. Like if we duplicated this and then we lifted it, or then we rotated it around. Oh, I wanted to duplicate it, sorry. If we duplicated this and then we lifted it up, then if you took both of them, and now it's going to rotate around off center. God, that's frustrating. So if we were to do one, just the bottom, and do like 2 rotations, something like that, and then if we did the top, oops, if we duplicated the top and we did there and then like there, I mean, we could kind of take these and then make it look like these things fell apart, and it would be convincing enough. I think it would work, but that's a lot of scenery pieces. This is 6 scenery pieces, and there's probably like 3 or 4 stacks of those to just make one of these. Of course, you don't have to make it exactly proportional, but the scenery pieces would add up pretty quick if we did something like that. But you could, and that's probably how, if I were to do that, that's probably how I would have done it. So we've kind of got this filled in a little bit better, and let's think a little bit, you know, what's the foliage and stuff going to start looking like? Let's go into, where is it? The nature. And let's just start with the bushes. I don't think there's going to be any trees in here. What tree would work? I don't know if any of these are going to work. Let's see. We'll just poke around in them. Now, if anything could work, it could maybe be like, you know, something like this. As if it's a, you know, make it look like a bush. I don't think that's going to work. Let's see. What else do we got? Okay, like that could work. These palm trees would make good overgrowth. Kind of like this area, you know, because it hasn't been maintained for so long, is being overgrown. We got a swamp tree. If we were to lay a swamp tree down flat, what would it look like? First off, is that flat? That's not flat. And then if we were to lift it up, you know, what would it look like if we did something like this? Now, that by itself looks kind of crappy, kind of bad. But if we turned it and then we slid it out, and like maybe it was coming in through the wall here, because if nobody can ever see what's over here, then who cares what it looks like on this side? But I just don't think that's going to work. I don't like the way that's looking. So I think I think we're going to probably end this episode here because it is getting a little bit long. And it's going to take a while to get the foliage kind of built up in here. And I might go ahead and add some like more small fountains around the side. Don't know exactly how it's all going to fit together and work. But thanks for watching. Tune in for the next one. Let's see how this keeps going. And I think we're probably going to get this ride mostly finished before we move on to anything else. And I think it's probably going to take like maybe 1 or 2 more episodes to get it, you know, like 90% done, and then we'll come back in and address little things later on as we need to. So thanks for watching. See you next time, and have yourself a great afternoon.